You act like a gangster, but can't even protect your woman. You're all talk and no action. We are done. Rosa pressed the send button on her phone without looking. One wrong digit. One furious mistake. One text that should have gone to her cheating ex-boyfriend, but instead landed in the phone of Seoul's most dangerous man. 3 hours later, there was a knock at her door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks that made her blood run cold. You wanted to talk about gangsters, the voice said through the door, smooth as ice and twice as deadly. Now I'm here. She looked through the peephole, and her heart stopped. The man standing there in the perfectly tailored suit wasn't her ex. He was Jae-Min Han, the ice prince of Seoul's underground. And she'd just insulted him, called him a fraud, a fake. Now he was at her door at midnight. And he wanted answers. Want to know more on what happened? Sit tight and watch till the end, as what would happen next will blow your mind. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting videos. The phone hit the floor with a satisfying thud, but Rosa barely noticed. Her hands were covered in crimson paint, her canvas half destroyed, and her voice was hoarse from yelling into her phone for the past 20 minutes. I'm telling you, Mina, I'm done. Completely done. Rosa paced her small Seoul apartment, her braids swinging with each frustrated step. The city lights flickered through her window, indifferent to her fury. Mina's laugh crackled through the speaker. Girl, you say that every week. What did June do this time? What didn't he do? Rosa grabbed a paint-stained rag, wiping her hands aggressively. He stood me up again. 3rd time this month. And when I called him out, he had the nerve to say I'm too demanding. Too demanding? For wanting my boyfriend to actually show up when he says he will. Rosa breathed. No, you know what? I'm texting him right now. I'm ending this joke of a relationship. Rosa snatched her phone from the floor, her fingers flying across the screen with the fury of a woman who'd had enough. She didn't even look at the contact name. She just typed, her anger guiding every word. Asterisk, you act like a gangster, but can't even protect your woman. You're all talk, no action. We're done. Lose my number. Asterisk. Send. The message disappeared into the digital void, and Rosa felt a small, bitter satisfaction. She tossed the phone onto her couch and returned to her canvas, trying to channel her rage into something productive. There. It's done. I'm free. Rosa picked up her brush again, but her hands were shaking. Finally. Now you can actually focus on your art show next month instead of that man-child. Mina's voice was full of relief. You deserve so much better, Rosa. Someone who actually appreciates you. Yeah, well, I'm done looking. I'm going to die alone with my paintings, and I'm okay with that. They talked for another 10 minutes before Mina had to go. Rosa was alone again, just her and the half-finished painting that looked like a crime scene. She was wiping her brushes when her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, expecting some pathetic excuse from June. But the message made her frown. Asterisk, careful who you call a gangster. Asterisk. Rosa's eyebrows shot up. Was June seriously trying to sound tough right now? After everything? She grabbed her phone, typing back quickly. Asterisk, you wish you were one. Stop being dramatic and just accept it's over. Asterisk. She set the phone down, rolling her eyes. Men and their egos. But something felt off. The message was too calm, too controlled. June was usually full of emojis and misspelled words when he was upset. Her phone buzzed again. Asterisk, I don't make wishes. I make decisions. And I've decided you've made a very interesting mistake. Asterisk. Rosa's stomach flipped. That definitely didn't sound like June. She opened her messages, her heart dropping when she saw the contact name. Unknown number. Oh no. No, no, no. Her hands trembled as she scrolled up, seeing the message she'd sent. The number was completely different from June's. 1 digit off. 1 stupid digit. Before she could process what this meant, there was a knock at her door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Rosa froze, her paintbrush still in her hand. It was nearly midnight. Nobody visited her this late. She crept toward the door, her heart hammering against her ribs. Who is it? Her voice came out smaller than she intended. Silence. Then, a voice, smooth and cold as winter rain. You wanted to talk about gangsters. Now I'm here. Rosa's blood turned to ice. This couldn't be happening. This had to be some kind of joke. She looked through the peephole and immediately wished she hadn't. A man stood in her hallway, dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit that probably cost more than her rent. His face was partially shadowed, but she could see sharp cheekbones, dark eyes that seemed to see through the door, and an expression of complete calm that was somehow more terrifying than any show of anger. I don't know who you are, but you need to leave. I'll call the police. Rosa's hand was already reaching for her phone. Go ahead. Ask them about Jae-Min Han. See what they tell you. There was amusement in his voice, but it wasn't warm. It was the amusement of a cat playing with a mouse. Rosa's hand hesitated. Something about the way he said his name made her fingers refuse to dial. Instead, she found herself asking, "What do you want?" To see the woman brave enough to insult me. Or stupid enough. I haven't decided which yet. It was a mistake. Wrong number. I was texting my ex-boyfriend. I know. I read the message. But you see, mistakes have consequences. And I don't appreciate being called a fraud. His tone was conversational, but there was steel underneath. Open the door, Rosa Williams. Her full name. He knew her full name. How do you? Open the door, or I'll assume you're as cowardly as your ex-boyfriend. And that would be disappointing. Rosa's hands moved before her brain could stop them. She unlocked the deadbolt, the chain, and pulled the door open just enough to see him fully. Jae-Min Han was even more intimidating in full view. He was tall, probably 6 feet, with the kind of face that belonged on magazine covers except for the coldness in his dark eyes. His black hair was styled perfectly, not a strand out of place. Everything about him screamed power and danger, from his expensive watch to the way he held himself, like a man who'd never been told no in his life. He looked her up and down, taking in her paint-stained overalls, her braids piled on top of her head, the streak of red paint across her cheek that she'd forgotten to wipe off. You're shorter than I expected. He stepped forward, and Rosa instinctively stepped back. He took that as an invitation, walking into her apartment like he owned it. Hey, I didn't say you could come in. Rosa found her voice, anger overtaking fear. You opened the door. He glanced around her small apartment, his gaze lingering on her paintings, the chaos of art supplies, the half-empty wine glass on the coffee table. Artist. That explains the dramatic message. It wasn't dramatic, it was honest. And it wasn't meant for you. Rosa crossed her arms, trying to appear braver than she felt. So now you've seen me. You can leave. Jae-Min turned to face her fully, and Rosa felt the weight of his attention like a physical thing. He studied her with the intensity of someone examining a puzzle. You don't know who I am, do you? It wasn't really a question. Should I? A small smile touched his lips, but it didn't reach his eyes. Most people in Seoul do. Most people wouldn't dare send me a message like that, even by mistake. Well, congratulations on being famous or infamous or whatever. I'm not most people, and I still want you to leave my apartment. Brave. He took a step closer. Or foolish. I can't decide. Both, probably. It's been that kind of night. Rosa held her ground, even though every instinct screamed at her to back away. Look, Mr. Han, I'm sorry I accidentally insulted you. It was meant for my useless ex-boyfriend. Can we just forget this happened? Forget. Jae-Min's expression didn't change. You send a message insulting a man you don't know, calling him a fake gangster, and you want to forget it? Yes, exactly. It's called moving on. You should try it. For a moment, Jae-Min just stared at her. Then he laughed, a short, sharp sound that seemed to surprise even him. You're either very stupid or very fearless. I'm still deciding which. You said that already. Do you have any other observations, or can I go back to ruining my painting in peace? Jae-Min walked past her to the canvas she'd been working on, examining the violent swirls of red and black. You paint your anger. Is that a crime? Are you going to arrest me for aggressive brushstrokes? I'm not police. He turned back to her. I'm everything they warn you about. Then why are you here? To threaten me? To make me apologize? What do you want? I want to know why you're not afraid. Jae-Min moved closer, and Rosa could smell his cologne, expensive and subtle. Everyone is afraid of me. But you're standing here, covered in paint, ordering me around like I'm a door-to-door salesman. Maybe I'm too tired to be afraid. Or maybe I just don't care anymore. It's been a really long day. Rosa's voice cracked slightly. I caught my boyfriend cheating, ended our relationship via a text that went to the wrong person, and now that wrong person is in my apartment at midnight discussing my emotional state. So forgive me if I'm not performing fear correctly. Something flickered in Jae-Min's eyes. Not quite sympathy, but something close to understanding. He cheated. 3 times that I know of. Probably more. So yeah, when I called someone a fake gangster who couldn't protect his woman, I meant it. I just meant it for the wrong number. Rosa felt tears prickling her eyes and blinked them back furiously. Can you please just go? I've had enough humiliation for one night. Jae-Min was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his jacket, and Rosa tensed, but he only pulled out a business card. He set it on her coffee table. Mistakes can be dangerous, Miss Williams. The kind of people who know my reputation might not understand this was accidental. They might think you're connected to me. That makes you interesting. And in my world, interesting means targeted. What? That's insane. Nobody even saw the message except you. You think I'm the only one who monitors communications in this city? Jae-Min moved toward the door. Be careful who you text. And keep that card. If anything unusual happens, call me. Wait, what do you mean targeted? You can't just say that and leave. But he was already at the door, his hand on the handle. He looked back at her one last time. Your ex-boyfriend was right about one thing. He's no gangster. But I am. And now you've accidentally made yourself my problem. He left, closing the door softly behind him. Rosa stood frozen in her apartment, her mind racing. She rushed to the door, locking everything, then grabbed the business card. Black card, white text. Just a name and a number. Jae-Min Han. She Googled him with shaking hands. The search results made her blood run cold. Articles about organized crime in Seoul. Speculation about syndicate leadership. A mention of the Han family. Old money mixed with very illegal enterprises. One headline called him the Ice Prince of Seoul's underground. Oh my God. Rosa collapsed onto her couch, the card still in her hand. What did I do? She didn't sleep that night. Every sound in her building made her jump. Every car that passed outside her window made her paranoid. When morning finally came, she called Mina immediately. Girl, you will not believe what happened after we hung up last night. She told Mina everything. The wrong number. The man at her door. The warnings. Mina listened in increasingly horrified silence. Rosa, you need to go to the police. And tell them what? That I accidentally texted a gangster and he showed up at my apartment, but didn't actually do anything except give me his card? They'll think I'm insane. This isn't funny, Rosa. These people are dangerous. You think I don't know that? Rosa looked out her window at the bright Seoul morning, everything looking deceptively normal. But what am I supposed to do? I can't move. I can't change my number. I have my art show in 3 weeks. I can't just disappear. Over the next 2 days, Rosa began to notice things. Small things that she might have dismissed before, but now made her skin crawl. A black car parked outside her building. The same black car, every morning. A man in a coffee shop who seemed to be watching her, pretending to read a newspaper. The feeling of being followed when she walked to her studio. She told herself she was being paranoid. The encounter with Jae-Min had spooked her, that's all. But on the third night, her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Asterisk, stay inside tonight. Asterisk. Rosa stared at the message, her heart racing. Was this Jae-Min? Someone else? She typed back quickly. Asterisk, who is this? Asterisk. No response. That evening, she stayed late at her studio, working on pieces for her show. Art had always been her escape, and she needed it now more than ever. She lost herself in the paint, the brush strokes, the way colors blended and fought on canvas. It was after 10 when she finally packed up. The streets were quiet as she walked toward the subway, her portfolio bag heavy on her shoulder. She took the alley she always took, a shortcut between her studio and the station. She was halfway through when she heard footsteps behind her. Rosa walked faster, her pulse quickening. The footsteps matched her pace. She was about to break into a run when a hand grabbed her arm, spinning her around. Another hand covered her mouth, muffling her scream. 2 men, both wearing black masks. One held her while the other reached for her bag. Make a sound and you'll regret it, one of them hissed in Korean. Rosa's mind went blank with terror. She tried to fight, kicking, thrashing, but the man holding her was too strong. The other man was going through her bag, pulling out her wallet, her phone. Then she heard it. A click. Cold and metallic and unmistakable. A gun. Let her go. The voice came from the mouth of the alley. Jae-Min Han stepped into the dim light, a pistol held casually at his side. He looked completely calm, like he'd just arrived for a dinner reservation rather than a potential murder scene. The man holding Rosa hesitated. The one with her bag took a step back. This doesn't concern you, the man holding Rosa said, but his voice shook slightly. She texted me by mistake. That made her my concern. Jae-Min raised the gun, aiming it with practiced ease. I don't repeat myself. Let her go. The man released Rosa, so suddenly she stumbled. Both men pulled out knives, but they looked like children's toys compared to Jae-Min's gun. What happened next seemed almost choreographed. Jae-Min moved like water, fast and fluid. He disarmed the first man with a strike to his wrist, the knife clattering away. The second man lunged, but Jae-Min dodged, using the man's momentum against him, slamming him into the alley wall. It was over in seconds. Both attackers were on the ground, groaning. Jae-Min hadn't even fired his weapon. He turned to Rosa, who was pressed against the wall, shaking. Are you hurt? She shook her head, unable to speak. Good. Come with me. He held out his hand. Who were they? Rosa's voice was barely a whisper. People who should have listened to my warning. Jae-Min pulled out his phone, speaking rapid Korean to someone. Then he looked at Rosa again. We need to leave. Now. They ran through the alleys of Seoul, Jae-Min leading her with the confidence of someone who knew every shadow, every escape route. A car was waiting at the end of the block, sleek and black with tinted windows. He opened the door, practically pushing her inside before sliding in next to her. Drive. He commanded the driver, and they were moving before Rosa could catch her breath. She looked at him, really looked at him. His suit wasn't even wrinkled. He looked like he'd just come from a business meeting, not a fight in an alley. You saved me, she said, her voice small. I told you. Mistakes have consequences. You became mine the moment you sent that message. Jae-Min looked out the window, his jaw tight. Those men work for the Choi family. Rival syndicate. Someone told them you're connected to me. But I'm not. They don't know that. They just know a woman texted me, insulted me, and I visited her personally. That's enough to make you valuable. The car drove through Seoul's nighttime streets, heading toward the affluent Gangnam district. They pulled into an underground garage of a building that looked more like a luxury hotel than an apartment complex. Where are we? Rosa asked as Jae-Min led her to a private elevator. Somewhere safe. The elevator opened directly into a penthouse that took Rosa's breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city, lights twinkling like stars. The space was decorated in minimalist luxury, all clean lines and expensive furniture. You live here? Rosa wandered toward the windows, temporarily forgetting her fear. One of my properties. Jae-Min shrugged off his jacket, revealing a shoulder holster with the gun. He removed it casually, setting it on a side table like it was car keys. You'll stay here tonight. What? No. I need to go home. Your home isn't safe. Those men know where you live, where you work, where you get your coffee. They've been watching you for 3 days. The man in the coffee shop. The car outside her building. The feeling of being followed. Oh God. Rosa sank onto a leather couch, her legs giving out. This is really happening. This is actually happening. Jae-Min poured 2 glasses of whiskey from a crystal decanter, handing her one. Drink. She took it with shaking hands, downing half the glass in one gulp. It burned, but it also steadied her. Why are you helping me? She asked. You don't even know me. I told you. You're my problem now. That's not an answer. Jae-Min sat across from her, studying her with that intense gaze that made her feel like he could read her thoughts. You reminded me that there are still people in this city who don't know my name. People who live normal lives, paint pictures, get their hearts broken by useless men. You were genuine, even in your anger. That's rare in my world. So what? I'm like a novelty to you? A cute little civilian you get to protect? No. You're a complication. An unwanted variable. Someone who texted the wrong number and accidentally painted a target on her back. He took a sip of his whiskey. But you're also brave. Stupidly so. You stood in your apartment and argued with me when you should have been terrified. I was terrified. You hid it well. A ghost of a smile crossed his face. Most people cry or beg. You ordered me to leave. Over the next few days, Rosa lived in a strange limbo, protected but trapped, safe but terrified. Jae-Min was gone often, handling business she didn't want to know about. But when he was there, they talked. Really talked. She learned about his sister, the only person who'd ever seen him as more than his family name, whose death had nearly broken him. He learned about her art, her dreams, the reasons she'd come to Korea in the first place. You remind me of her, he said one night, both of them unable to sleep. My sister. She wasn't afraid to call me out either. To see me as human. I'm sorry you lost her. She would have liked you. A sad smile crossed his face. Your fire. Your refusal to be intimidated. The meeting with the Choi family came faster than Rosa expected. Jae-Min wanted to go alone, but she insisted on coming. "This is my life too," she argued. "Let me be part of the solution instead of just the problem." The meeting was tense, dangerous. The Choi family wanted proof she meant nothing to Jae-Min. Wanted her gone, exiled, erased. "She stays," Jae-Min said quietly, and those two words changed everything. He gave up territory, business, power, all to protect a woman he barely knew. Afterward, in the car, Rosa couldn't stay silent. "You gave them so much. For me, it was worth it. But why? I'm nobody. Just an artist who sent a wrong text." He looked at her then, something raw and vulnerable in his eyes. "Because when I read your text, I laughed. Actually laughed. Something I haven't done in years. Because you made me remember there's more to life than violence and power. Because you made me want to be better." "Jae-Min, I know this doesn't make sense. You're an artist. I'm a criminal. But I can't let you go." "Then don't." The words escaped before Rosa could stop them. "Don't let me go." He pulled her close, and she let herself lean into him, feeling safe for the first time in days. "This is crazy," he murmured. "Completely. You'll probably regret this." "Probably." She pulled back to look at him. "But I'm doing it anyway." He kissed her then, soft and careful, like she was something precious. Rosa kissed him back, tasting possibility and the beginning of something impossible. Her art show came 2 weeks later. Jae-Min arrived dressed impeccably, looking every inch the powerful man he was. But when he looked at her paintings, she saw genuine emotion in his eyes. "These are incredible," he said softly, studying a piece she'd called Wrong Number, a chaotic swirl of reds and blacks that somehow resolved into something beautiful. "You're biased." "Maybe, but I'm also right." The show was a success. Everything she'd worked for. But the best moment came when Jae-Min stood in front of her largest painting. "I want to buy this one," he said. "You don't have to. I want to. Because it's extraordinary. And because it reminds me that even chaos can create beauty." They left the gallery together, walking through Seoul's nighttime streets. "What happens now?" Rosa asked. "Now we live," Jae-Min said simply. "We figure it out. We take each day as it comes. Together. Always together." And as they disappeared into the Seoul night, Rosa thought about fate, about wrong numbers and right connections, about how sometimes the biggest mistakes lead to the most important discoveries. She'd sent a text meant for someone else, and found exactly who she was meant to find. Asterisk if you enjoyed this story of impossible love born from a mistaken text, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more romantic suspense tales. Drop a comment below. If you would risk everything for love? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.